Hi guys, and welcome to episode 10 of the Irish Tennis Updates podcast. My name is Adam, your host. I hope you're all keeping well. At the moment I'm looking to release a new episode every single week, and this week I think I've got a really good one. I'm chatting to Paul Fitzgerald. From a young age, Paul has been on a super tennis journey, from making his Munster debut, aged 15, to winning the treble at Fitz under 18, to winning national NCAA titles while in college, to playing Bundesliga tennis in Germany. He tells me about all this, as well as his opinions on Irish tennis at the moment, why he is into coaching at the moment and how he feels about that, and also he tells some great stories along the way. This episode's a little longer than usual, but I think it's really interesting and entertaining, and I hope you'll agree. Let's get into it. Alright, so Paul, if you could have one superpower, what would you choose and why?
It would have to be teleportation.
Oh, yeah?
I hate flying. I absolutely hate flying. And when I was a kid, even when the senior player, playing tournaments abroad, German leagues, all that kind of stuff, I hated flying, and that would be the thing that I would do the most. It's just, I don't know what it is. I get on a plane, the hands get a little bit sweaty. Don't like the takeoff. That's the one thing that I don't like.
Yeah.
But everything else, yeah, it would have to be teleportation, just to get, and it just makes life easier as well to get from one place to the other without
Yeah.
trains, So yeah, it would definitely be teleportation,
Yeah,
definitely.
I was actually thinking about it myself earlier, what I'd say, and I'd go ahead of teleportation as well. Even just I have some family over in the States, pop over there for an afternoon, just a visit and whatever,
Yeah,
I think it'd be, yeah, that's on the same there, teleportation, big time.
yeah, and again, like even playing, college tennis and stuff like that. Like I'll never forget a situation where we went nearly, I think it was 8 hours to Texas in a minivan with with 9 people, and that's the kind of thing that you're kind of really appreciating if you had that kind of superpower. So
Yeah,
definitely teleportation, 100%.
yeah, it's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess just talk for a few minutes about kind of COVID-19, the current situation. So how are you coping at home? How are you are you doing anything to keep tennis in your life a little bit, or how are you just coping overall?
Yeah, again, what I'm doing currently at the moment is I'm trying to get myself into a good routine. It's very easy to drop out of a routine, going to bed late, waking up late.
Yeah,
Uh, so I'm getting myself up early in the morning, go for a run, have some breakfast, do some chores around the house. Then we have a 3-year-old, so we're trying to
okay,
keep her as active as possible.
yeah,
We take her out. I do some ball sense exercises with her, play with her, do some puzzles, go for my second run.
yeah,
Uh, it's just getting yourself into a good routine, because we don't know how long this is going to go on for. It could go on for longer, go on for shorter. But when we do get back, it would be nice to get yourself into a good routine and get back into the regime straight away, So, and it's also good for the frame of mind, especially with what we're doing right now. If you're lounging around the house, it does become a tough mentally as well, So,
yeah.
getting yourself into a good routine. Puzzles, that's a new little thing that I'm doing at the
Okay,
moment. Baking, I never thought I'd start baking, but cheesecakes, I'm starting to make a lot of cheesecakes at the moment now. So I'm watching a lot of Celebrity Bake Off, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, a lot of baking at the moment as well. So it's very good, very very good. So
it's a good habit because you end up with a nice cheesecake to eat as well. So yeah.
I tell you something, Maltese or cheesecake, you can't go wrong. Fantastic.
Yeah. So how long do you envisage it being till we get back to some professional tennis, and how do you think it might look when we finally do?
Um, it does have to, go with the other countries as well.
Yeah,
I think it's easy for us to say, yeah, look, we'll be back in this certain day. We have to wait for the other countries to kind of be on the same wavelength as us, and
yeah.
hopefully, Wimbledon, not going this year. French Open's pushed towards the autumn time. I think we could be looking at September starting off again. And look, it's a good time to reflect from coaches to players. You're back in pre-season. Get yourself back into that again, and it's all about get yourself into routines. Write down some new ideas. Pre-plan and have yourself prepared as much as you can. And I guarantee you, your clients and your players will really appreciate what you're doing at the end of the day, preparing them as best as they can. So.
Yeah, so how much kind of contact are you making with players of yours like these days to keep in touch?
Again, what I'm doing is I'm trying to WhatsApp to the parents, especially with the juniors. So I text the parents just to ask, see what they're doing. Small things like skipping. Most of my players, I like to keep them as active as possible. I'm a passionate person about footwork. I think footwork is a big thing at the end of the day. So there's a lot of plyometrics, a lot of footwork exercises that I would send to them, and just mentally, how are they getting on? What's their routine like at the moment? Are they acting professional? I think that's quite important as well. It's hard to go now 7 days a week without any tennis, but you can still be a professional for 6 days of those weeks, So again, it's about getting yourself into a good routine. And by the time you come back out, you're feeling really confident. You don't know what the other players are doing around the country, but you can only take care of yourself at the end of the day. So when you're coming out of this going, right, I haven't played any tennis, neither has anyone else.
Yeah.
So I'm physically active, I'm going to be more confident. I'm going to have that step. I'm going to have that edge against my opponents. So that's what I'm kind of telling them at the moment,
Yeah, I think that's what makes this so unique, that you might have an injury layoff here or there when you're out of the game for a month or whatever, but it's literally everyone. Everyone is not able to play. It's going to be everyone's coming back into it, and it's going to be so interesting to see on a professional level, and then also just a domestic level, how people are going to get back into it.
It's unheard of. And no one has ever been in this situation before in our time. And I think that there's two ways you can come out of this. One, you can feel sorry for yourself, lounging around, eating all around you, and coming on the court, and no one's going to feel sorry for you. Or you can take that other approach. Get up in the morning, do your training, act professional, and I guarantee it will pay off down the line, to what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day. But it's what you put in is what you're going to get out. So this is a time for them to start pre-training again. I personally think that as much as they can, get on your plyometrics, get on your footwork. You'll come out, you'll be faster, stronger, fitter. That's what you want to be doing at the end of the day. I always look at someone like even David Ferrer. You look at him and you wouldn't say he's the most technically gifted amongst the others. He is physically inept. I love watching his style of play. He'll hunt down every ball, and he's the kind of character that I would like my players to be in the future. To have that mentality. If you had David Ferrer back as a junior again, he'd be all over the place. He'd be running 10 miles down the road back again, like that. So that's the kind of person that I look up to at the end of the day. So yeah,
I think if you look at him, he absolutely maximized what he had. He took what he had, and he got to something like 4 in the world. Just insane. 5, like it absolutely maximized what he had.
Big time. He was just a wall, an absolute wall. He knew his gift, he knew his strength, and he utilized it as much as he could. And he's a physical presence on the court. So, credit to him,
Yeah. So I want to go back a bit to your kind of story in tennis and how maybe first of all, how it kind of started for you. So how did you get into tennis? Kind of how and where did all that start for you?
7 years old. My mum and dad moved back to Ireland. They're both Irish. And we moved into Cork. That's where they were from, and started in school through the Parks tennis program, Cork Parks tennis. And once I picked up the racket, I was like, what's going on here? This is unbelievable. And we were indoors all the time because it was raining the whole time. We had a very small hall in our school. And my first coach, my coach now was a proper hippie. He was the hippie of hippies, man, but he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. And I just connected with him so well. And, they saw something in me, and they promoted me as much as I could. Financially, my mum and dad didn't have the finances to do it, so Parks Tennis were brilliant to me, and they funded me as much as they could, and I'm hoping to this day that I delivered for them. Being number one in the country under 18, 16s, 14s, getting Fitz titles, getting ITF titles, playing for my country, playing for Munster. I started because of them, and they pushed that. And I used to hit every morning off our council wall. We had a council wall, and I used to wake everyone up, get around the place at 7 a.m, but that's what you had to do, and I just took advantage of everything that was thrown at me. I never said no to anything, and I got a scholarship to Presentation Brothers College. Famous sports players came out of that. Ron Nagar, Peter Stringer, Simon Zebo. The list goes on, and I just wanted to make an impact in that school, and I think I did. I think I done well for them. We won the Munster Schools tennis 6 years in a row. It was a great school. Yeah, not bad. We had some stiff competition, but again, it was a team thing. So I just anytime that I had the opportunity to do something, I did it. And I used to walk a lot. I mean, from finances, like I said, my background doesn't have, the finances that other players did. I used to walk down to Sundayswell. You probably know Sundayswell down in Cork.
Yeah.
And that used to be nearly, I'd say, a 4 mile, 5 mile kind of walk up and back. Going up in the north side of Cork with tennis rackets and a white T-shirt, you're asking for trouble. Do you know what I mean? So you had to do a bit of running at the same time. But no, it was a great junior and senior experience that I've had. And then I went off to play in college tennis. So I played in ABAC, which was a junior college. I wouldn't say it was the most academic. I'll put that. But again, I took advantage. I didn't want to stop at 18, and this is something that I would recommend people hearing. And I was listening to your podcast with Mark Finnegan, fantastic podcast, by the way, really, really good. And I highly recommend it. And I think it's one of those things that people don't recognize. They might look at their ranking over here in this country, but realize that, do you know what, I'm number 10 in the country, I'm not going to get a scholarship. There is scholarships, and there's all different types of scholarships for all different leagues and campaigns over there. And I think it's one of those things that Mark is now starting to make sure people are recognizing that. So I went through the junior college department, and I played 2 years at ABAC, and I was the number 1 player in the nation in junior college, which was awesome, which was a lot of fun. But I knew there was bigger fish to fry, and I had multiple choices then. There was people from Kansas State to Georgia State University looking for me. But I knew where I wanted to go, because I knew what I wanted to do when I got over there. There were 2 things: get a degree, get that damn ring. And I wanted that ring. It's one of those things that, when you get over there, and it's people don't know about, when you win a national title, you get one of those famous rings, one of those NFL rings. And I just wanted to be a part of that, be a part of something that no other male Irish tennis player has done. I know Claire Curran, from the north, is the first Irish lady to get a national title, NCAA, in any positions, and it's a phenomenal achievement. It is hard, and I always look at it this day that I was only a part of that team, to accomplish what we had to do in 2009, and we were in Miami. The stage was set, 400 people watching. I was bricking it. My coach came up to me and he's like, "Fitzgerald, what's wrong with you?" And I goes, "I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out." I goes, I'm going to maybe get one of these rings. And he was like, "Don't worry, Fitzgerald, we have this." He was so confident. He is now the head tennis coach for North Carolina State, Simon Earnshaw. And he was remarkable. I can't say enough for the guy at all. And Alan Kramer was the head coach for junior college as well. He was so uplifting, so positive. They made impacts on my career as a coach to this day. You know, their attitude, their behavior to me has helped me. And yeah, we were fortunate enough to come out 2009 Miami, played Barry University, and came down to Rafael Ray against, I think it was Tim Verschel from Germany, and it was a clincher, 4-all, and it came down to that match, and Rafa pulled it out. You know, gotta love the Rafas. So yeah, we won the national title in 2009, and we just, you know, it was just an experience that I really feel that everyone needs to try. And I think that when you're 18, it's not goodbye, best of luck to your future endeavors as a coach. It should be, let's get you a 4-year plan. Let's get you a 4-year plan. Let's get you a 4-year direction to go somewhere else. And that's what it's all about with me, is that, like, I love that kind of attitude that Mark Finnegan is bringing, that even John McGahan brings on a daily basis. He brings that team ethic, team attitude. Stephen Nugent, Keane Blake, the list goes on. You know, these guys are trying to deliver this as much as they can to Ireland, and they're doing a great job, you know. So, yeah. And currently coaching in Cork, doing Munster squads, doing a couple of clubs down here, Mitchelstown Kinsale Tennis Club, Carrigaline Tennis Club, and I work in Photo Hub, which is a part of the Munster branch. So doing well, doing very well. So I'm happy with what's been going on. I'd like to do more, but you know, once we get out of this pandemic, we can start getting into that again, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I want to take you back to for a minute. You mentioned there a few minutes ago about playing for your province, and I think you got that quite early. Was it around 15? Was it you got to play?
Jeez, yeah, senior cap. I got 15.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So how was that?
Oh, it was unbelievable. It was amazing. There was so many players that I was looking up to at the time. When, you know, the Dave O'Connells from Dublin. It was amazing to watch. You know, I think Emma Murphy was there at the time. I was a massive watcher from her as well. I think Gina Nyland was playing at the time as well. It was just brilliant. And, you know, I love playing for Munster. I love playing for Ireland, but I love playing for Munster. And I think that, you know, that's something that we need to start embracing on a little bit more. I think we need to start some rivalries and need the passion, need that attitude going. Well, we do. Like you see it in the rugby. You know, why can't we have that same attitude towards tennis? If you ever come to an Interpros, you know, that's something that I'm passionate about. I think bragging rights is so important, and I think that it sets the tone. And I think Leinster went about their business the right way last year, setting the tone for the other provinces to step up or ship out. And I love that attitude, and that's what we need. That's the kind of thing saying we're the best. And that's what I like, because then you get to tell your players, go do something about it. If you don't, then they're right. It's as simple as that. It's like an FA Cup final. You want to make sure you're going home with that trophy. Second place, I don't do second place. I don't like it. Don't like the word. I hate it. I don't like semi-finals. I've never been there. I like winning things. It's as simple as that. And I think that if you're in this type of, you know, level, it's not about the game, because I love the game and I'm all about the sportsmanship. But again, if you're at that level, I want to compete. I want to make sure I have the best players around me. And when I was 15, I got to see that. I got to see Leinster walking away with the title with 12 points to spare. They were that good. They were that good. And I looked at that and I was like, we were coming third at the time in senior, and you know, sitting down with the guys, you know, at the dinner, and they're going, "Geez, we done well." I'm looking at them going, "What? What are you talking about? What? Absolutely unacceptable." And I made sure that I set the pathway for the youngsters coming in, because again, when I was 15, I was looking up to them, seeing them going, they're happy with third place. So I wanted to make sure in 10 years follows, I wanted to make sure that these guys look at me and go, I don't do third place. We don't do second place. We compete with the best. And the best has always been Leinster. And we have to make sure there's a rivalry. Otherwise, it's pointless having an Interpros. It's pointless having these things. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think with the rugby, you don't see that. You see people competing as much as they can. And I know we don't push, but we are pushing now. We are promoting. Last year was unbelievable. Like for me as a captain, non-playing captain, watching it going down, the way Monkstown, they were brilliant, represented the whole tournament so well, so professional. Ball boys, ball girls, really making an impact, bringing out the numbers, getting the crowd behind every match. Love that. Why can't we do that on a regular basis? That's the question. So we need to start pushing. We need to start driving, because that will create memories for players in years to come. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, so how, I guess, related to that, how do you see Irish tennis at the moment? Do you see, in terms of within Ireland, and also how do you see Irish tennis kind of abroad as well?
Well, you're seeing a lot. You're seeing a lot of the players now, going abroad, playing pro tournaments, and that's a plus. That's an absolute plus straight away, and I think that's fantastic to see. Peter Bothwell, Oscar, Julian Bradley, Simon Carr, the list goes on. Even the juniors, in Amar, they're doing unbelievable, and I love seeing that. And I think that we should start pushing them and promoting them more, because these guys are forking money out of their own pocket. It's very hard. Like, if I'm a sponsor and you go on the tour and there's a Gaelic football team down the road, and I have two choices between sponsoring you as an individual or the team across the road. You get injured, that's my money gone. One of them gets injured, they're replaceable. You can replace that with a substitute, and you're back on the pitch again, and they're tuning in as much as you can. So these guys, full-time on tour, absolute full admiration, full appreciation, and they're fighting as much as they can and doing the best they can. And you can only salute them. And it is a progression. There are positives that are happening within Tennis Ireland, around the clubs, around domestically. There are players that I feel that need to be pushed. But again, it's about, with juniors especially, it's not every player is going to be a singles player. I honestly feel that we have top doubles players, and I think that maybe it's an option for coaches to sit down with their players and say, do you know what, you mightn't make it as a singles player, and you have to be a little bit honest with them sometimes, but maybe you could say you might make it as a doubles player. Look at someone like James Cluskey, David O'Hare.
Yeah.
They looked at the bigger picture and they got themselves out there. They did a fantastic job as Irish pros full-time on the tour. They did an unbelievable job. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that I think is that we don't utilize what we have. We play on one of the fastest courts in the world, wet savannah courts. Not savannah, wet savannah. And we go out and we perform to a high level with doubles. I have a lot of players that I looked in the past, and even to this day, there's a lot of players that I look at. Mark Carpenter, Morgan Dunn, unbelievable doubles players. For me, they were my admiration growing up. I was just in awe watching these guys. Colin O'Brien, he was, and I'm gonna have to be honest, he was the guy I always looked up to because he was a lefty like myself.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, this guy, he could play both. He was that good. And it's something that we don't promote enough. And I think that we should start coaching doubles more with the juniors. It's something that I'm trying to utilize at the moment with my Munster squads. And it's something that we should embrace on a little bit more. Take into consideration the ITF in Carrigaline. Conor Gannon walked the doubles final, completely walked it. Unbelievable. So again, these are the kind of things that we need to be looking at the end of the day. And again, they can play both, but I'm saying is that we have an opportunity and obligation, because we play, like you take, for instance, Sweden. Sweden have top doubles players. I always look at that country because they play indoor the whole time, fast indoor courts, serve and volley, serve and volley. So again, it's something that people need to be grasping, and especially for even the Fed Cup and the Davis Cup, doubles. These doubles points are so important at the end of the day. So again, it's something that we need to be pushing. So, and I keep looking at the results and stuff like that. I always see our pro players doing so well in doubles, you
Yeah.
know.
So you have like Julian, Peter, you know, guys that are winning titles in doubles far more than they are currently, at least in singles for sure.
Absolutely. Take your man, Salisbury, Joe Salisbury.
Yeah.
Joe Salisbury.
Yeah.
He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was David O'Hare's doubles partner.
He was, yeah.
And look at him now. He's just won a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Like how incredible is that? You know, but he's looked at that. He's looked at that and he's weighed up the options. He's looked at it and said, do you know what? I'm not going to make it as a singles player, but I have a very good opportunity and a financial opportunity to make it as a doubles player. He mightn't get the same numbers. He mightn't get the same money, but he is pushing himself to be a top Great Britain player. That's what you have to do at the end of the day. You have to be honest with yourself as well. And, you know, if you're 25, 26, am I going to make something happen? Because there's 17, 18-year-olds in Russia, Argentina, France who are making a name for themselves already.
Yeah.
You have to look at, you know.
What else do you think we could do in Ireland to push tennis a little bit more? Do you see anything else that we could do?
I think Tennis Ireland are going about things the correct way, the right way. They're trying to branch out to the other provinces, not just have it in Dublin the whole time, which is very good. And I think they are doing a great job. And you have to hold your hands up and say, you know, they're trying things. They are trying things, and that's what it's all about. You are going to make mistakes before something becomes perfect. Do you know? And that's what it's all about. I think maybe with the Davis Cup, Fed Cup, maybe some you know, practice matches beforehand. You know, get collective top players around the country, get them together, have a practice match, sell it out as an exhibition towards clubs. Maybe do it in small clubs, so larger people come out, start promoting tennis about the right way. What else? I suppose with the Interpros, when you win it, do you just lock away the trophy for the year, or do you go around to the clubs and explain to the juniors how important it is to have, you know, the trophy in Leinster, or, you know, small things like that, and bring around a couple of the players? They're kind of things that could happen as well. Indoor courts. We need indoor courts. So if there's anyone, if there's any people looking at this right now, I would love if you can get an indoor court down in Cork. That'd be absolutely great.
Yeah. Am I correct in saying that there's zero in Munster? Is that right? Is it?
Zero. Now there is a private owner in, I think, Tipperary, but there's zero. There's absolutely zero. So, we've had it. And you can see it for yourself. We've had a hard winter. We've had a very, very hard winter, and it's been rough. I've never seen, because I play for Nace, and I play Winter League for Nace, and I've never seen a winter like this. You know, matches being postponed.
Yeah,
like, that's that isn't heard of, and you know, it just seems like every winter it's getting worse and worse and worse. That's the reason why we need these facilities, especially with our field of sport. If we're going to act like a top sport in this country, we need to make sure we're getting the facilities to back it up. You know, and again, we're the only province without indoors, and we're really finding it tough, you know. So especially even from a coach's perspective, you're probably losing one third of your earnings, you know, through the year, and that's being honest, you know.
Yeah. And I want to go back to you for a minute and kind of your story. So what was the highlight of tennis for you before you went to college, pre-college?
Before I went to college, there's so many. There's so many. I don't know. I suppose winning Fitz under 18, doing the treble there, that was pretty cool. I like that. Back-to-back ITFs, one in Dublin and one in Cork. That was pretty awesome as well. Again, it's, you know, I it's funny enough that you say, you know, what way do I look at it? There was a moment, and it's actually coming back to the Interpros, and you know, it was under 18, and there was a guy, Paul Foley, and he was just chomping at the bit the whole time, chomping at the bit all year. He was asking me the questions, and it was a big point for Leinster and Munster, and I lost it. I lost that point, and I was absolutely gutted. But then I got my revenge. I got my revenge in Fitz in the semi-final against them, and it was a cracking game that we had, and that's something that always lives in my head. That one match against him, it was brilliant. But yeah, that would be it. Semi-final, Paul Foley, Fitzwilliam under 18. That year under 18, that was a phenomenal year for me. I had some really good moments with that, and I was lucky enough to play Four Nations. I think that's something that anyone should be proud of. 18 playing for the senior team, it was unbelievable. I got to play with Barry King. That was brilliant. Absolutely awesome. And just when you get to play for your country and your province, it's one of the most proudest things that you could ever do. And I'm always proud. I'm always proud to represent my province and represent my country. But yeah, semi-finals, Fitz, under 18, Paul Foley, 7-6 and a third. There you go.
And you'll never forget it.
Never forget it. So.
And then you went off to college. So how was that experience overall? Those years you spent in the States. If you were to sum it up.
Best 4 years of my career. Best 4 years.
Okay.
It was an amazing experience from the standpoint going. You get over there and you don't have that regime of your parents organizing your coaching. And they, in fairness, they never did. But they say, all right, look, 5:30, you got to go to training. This is, you turn up to training, and if you don't, you're getting sent back on the 747 back to Dublin. That it was that kind of attitude. It's a job. It's a job when you're playing for college tennis. And that's what I love the most about it, is that like you had to go out and perform as much as you can, because your livelihood is on the line. You're making you've got to balance your social, you've got to balance your academics, you've got to balance your tennis. They look at being a student athlete, and a student comes first, and that's very important for anyone who is traveling to the States to play college tennis. Make sure that you have a balance with your academic, your social, and your tennis. Again, it was an incredible experience, because we don't get to play in many team events. There's Winter League, Summer League, Interpros. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
And again, when you get over there, it's all team in January period. But don't forget, those people who are your team in January, they're not your team in September, because it's individual team tournaments. That's something to kind of address the players as well, is that you've got to make sure you perform and outshine them, especially within that period, because that will determine where you play this position 1 and 6. And that's very important for players. So it's a guideline for them to make sure they understand that as well, So, but unbelievable team experience. Talk about leaders. Like, again, I'd have that Roy Keane mentality. Didn't want to lose. I don't like losing. And again, no one should have that. And it's one of those things that, I used to get everyone riled up before the game and stuff like that. And, they'd have the same, it was just brilliant. The atmosphere was electric. You play your doubles first, pro sets, 1st to 8. Oh, it was awesome. You didn't know what way it was going to go. And that's another thing as well. Us as juniors going from Ireland to America, we think we know how to play doubles. We have no clue. We have no idea. Till you get over there, man, I'll never forget it. It was the first 2 weeks, and I won Fitz. Don't forget that now. I won Fitz. Did the treble. I was walking over there like I was the man. Nothing could touch me, right? Nothing could touch me. In singles, no problem. In doubles, coach calls me in. He goes, Fitzgerald. He goes, how's it going? You can't play doubles. He goes, what? I goes, of course I can. He goes, meet me tomorrow, 3 p.m. Okay, no problem. So met him out there. He had a bench 4 yards away from the net. A bench. So I was like, what's he doing here? He had a trolley of balls on the other side by the service line. He goes, Fitzgerald, you're going to learn how to play doubles, my friend. I said, okay, all right, let's do this. Let's see what's going on. So I stood in between the bench and the net, and he fired all those balls at me until I was bruised and battered. I learned how to play doubles. I understood how to play doubles after that. It's simply put, it's an experience. But again, it's something that always reigns in my head. But yeah, look, it's something that everyone needs to try. And anyone can get some form of a scholarship. They just need to go out and pursue it. This is the reason why Mark Finnegan is doing the job that he's doing, because he's incredible at that job. And I would highly recommend anyone going about that.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier your 2009 when your team went all the way to the Nationals. So would you say that was the highlight of your 4 years, or would you have something else that maybe stays with you even better?
That from an experience winning the national title will always be the proudest thing, because again, playing for your country, playing for your province, but being the first Irish male to ever win a national title, I'm so proud of that. And I look at former players who were over there, and again, don't get me wrong, is that people are in Division 1 colleges competing at the best as they could, but my Division 2 team would be a top 30 Division 1 team. They were that good. They were very, very good. And that's something that needs to be addressed as well, the difference between Division 1 and Division 2. A lot of people think, Division 2 is a lower grade. There are top quality players who come from Division 2. And that's something that people need to understand. But as far as my greatest achievement, it wouldn't be the greatest achievement. I was playing, I think it was in 2006, 2007. I was playing the junior college national championships. Just won the semi-final of the JUCO, which is the junior college, and was in the final. In the semi-final of the doubles. So we were set down. We were 4-2 up, and the ball went off my partner's head. Now, we were playing in Fort Myers in Florida. You know why you're laughing already. You can see where I'm going with this. Ball went off my partner's head straight away, and I just ran down the ball. But what I didn't see is the courts are made different over there. They put light poles in between the courts, so they're in between the service line and the baseline, in between the edges. So I run down the ball, running, kept the eye on the ball the whole time. I goes, Jay, I got you. Bang! Completely knocked out. Ran right head first into that pole. All matches had to stop. All the junior college, Division 2, Division 3, NAA, all the matches had to stop. I was knocked stone cold out. I was completely out of it. And again, my partner said to me, I got up apparently. I threw a few swings because I thought I got punched. And then I went right down back on the floor again. My teeth got stuck in the pole. So they were engraved in the pole. So then I woke up and my coach was over me. This is Coach Alan Kramer. He's over me, holding my hand. I swear to this day, I thought he had a Bible in his hand, right? I have to ask him about that still. But he was over there going, "You okay?" And I goes, I didn't have a clue where I was. Because where am I? What's going on? And he said, "You're in the hospital." I goes, "You took an accident." And I goes, "I can't feel my mouth. I don't know what's going on." And he goes, "You had a bit of an accident." So they showed me the mirror. And I wasn't really freaked out. I was kind of like, I've no teeth. I don't have any front teeth. They were stuck in the pole. So he was like, "Look, we're going to have to, forfeit the singles." I goes, "Are you mad?" He goes, "I'm absolutely mad." And it was at 4 a.m. that night in the hospital. So I talked to the nurse. I goes, "Come on." I goes, "Can you let me go out there?" And she goes, "Look, I'm going to have to give you really strong painkillers. Really strong painkillers." And I goes, "Yeah, look, give me whatever. Just want to play that bloody final." So took the painkillers. They were legal, by the way. And got escorted back in the ambulance, had the hospital dress on, rackets in hand, blood all over the hospital dress, walked out onto the court, man. And the guy looked at me. The guy looked at me that I was playing. The Spanish guy goes, "You have got to be kidding me. Are you actually serious right now?" And the heat was sweltering down that day. My coach couldn't watch the match because he had the shakes. He was afraid to call my parents. He was walking up and down the sideline, couldn't look. He was on the phone. I don't know who he was talking to. In fairness, my doubles partner took it very, very well. He was like, "Come on, man, you got this." And the crowd was unbelievable. Like, watching that match, it was a 3-hour match. I can't believe to this day I won it. Don't know how I won it. I was in La La Land. I mean, the heat was coming down. I looked like, Sabretooth. I looked like something out of some sort of like horror show. Just fangs, no front teeth. And I just ended up taking that down. And look, again, there was a lot of coaches, but I remember one coach particularly. I think it was from Tyler College. He turned around to me. He goes, "I will sell 5 of my players to just have you." And I just took that as a compliment. But I was so out of it. I was still like, I was just, what's going on here? So then that day, I had to play the final 4, which means that the champion from each league, which is junior college, Division 2, Division 3, and NAIA, had to compete in a semi-final to a final. Unfortunately, I lost. I just ran out of steam.
Yeah.
But it was an unbelievable story, and I think I'd reckon my coach could probably say it better. But that's what I remember.
Yeah. He was awake the whole time.
But yeah, he said he took it in the category as, if that's what an Irish tennis player is, I'm gonna buy the whole lot of them. And I said to him at the start, I wanted to make an impact. I didn't mean I wanted to make an impact on him.
Yeah.
It was incredible, but at the same time, it's a life learning lesson that I would do anything to compete. And that's something that everyone needs to have when you're over there, is that they demand that. And if you have that, you're going to have a fantastic 4 years. Nothing's going to come easy at the end of the day. And, if you're a competitor and you play at that high level, you have got to be making sure that you believe in what you do and you're competitive. And if you have those 2 accolades, you're going to go far in college tennis.
You mentioned lessons there. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned in college?
It's important to play for the team and not yourself. I think that's quite important. We grow up in an individual sport in this country, and to change the whole dynamics when you get over there and they're going, now you're on a team. It's just mind blowing. Is that, like, you have no control of what they're doing on the court, but you can influence them while they're being on the court. Do you get what I'm saying? Is that you can support as much as you can.
Yeah.
And I just appreciated that more. So when I did play for Ireland, when I did play for Munster, it made me a better person, and I use those accolades to this day, playing for Munster, captaining Munster. These are things that we have to fully appreciate. So if there was anything, the team ethic, understanding what team ethic is all about. And it brought me a long way, especially when I got back home, and that you're back into the individual stuff again, until I went to play in Germany and play in Bundesliga over there. That's something that they demand when you get over there. So it's just brilliant,
Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah, so you graduate then from college in the States, and what happens then? You come back to Ireland. You mentioned Bundesliga, so you went to Germany. What happened then?
Come back to Ireland again. I love the States, but there's no place like home. No place like home. It's as simply put. I love home. I love Ireland, and it's a great place. And it's always raining, and that's something. But when you're in Ireland, the people. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People. They're just brilliant. So you have to start looking for a job. You have to start looking for a job straight away, and nothing's going to be handed to you. You have to go look for it as much as you can. And once I got my hands into coaching, that was it. I kind of felt like I was going to embrace and and give back what I love doing to them. But with the German league, we played in Baden-Liga, and it was brilliant. So I played for Boris Becker's tennis club, which is tennis lineman. So that's originally where he's from, and they still have that wooden racket to this day that he won with. It's unbelievable, and you see the mum all the time, you see the sister all the time. It's incredible. But just see kind of like those faces, you're like, oh my god. But you're over there and they've got a great system, a great setup, great finances, great people, and a great level, a great level. And that's something that I would recommend to players who are, finding it hard to make a living on the tour, finding it hard to, commit full time on the tour. This is a semi-pro contract they give you. You play a certain amount of games, and they will pay you to play for them. There's a lot of players in Europe who go to Germany, France, Luxembourg to play those leagues and get paid. So they do 1 week on in German league, 1 week off to play in tour. And that's something that we have to look at the end there, because not everyone's going to have those finances. I didn't have those finances. I know that. I know what I could have controlled in my surroundings. Again, we come back to that sponsorship thing. If I'm a sponsor and you're an individual and team, I'm going to go with the team. And, we're a small country, but we have to make things happen. And I just used my resources as much as I could. So I'm embracing that, so.
Yeah, so in terms of that league over in Germany, how long did you play with those, and how does that experience, I'm interested, compare to, obviously it's very different to playing league in Ireland, but what are the kind of inherent differences between those league structures and kind of the league structures in Ireland?
Well, what I like about Ireland, and I'll always say about the DLTC, they are so professional. They are absolutely so professional. I love playing for in the DLTC because they're so professional. The level's fantastic in Leinster, and that's the reason why I come up there. Because I've done it all down in Munster, and I've kind of influenced some players to come from Munster to play up here because the depth is fantastic. You could be playing in a Class 2 or Class 3 team, but play a former number 1. Do you know what I mean? It's that type of mentality, and I'll always big up the DLTC in that frame, because they are so professional at the end of the day, and credit to where credit's due, they're brilliant. As far as difference, the level's unbelievable. The level is a joke. You're playing top 200-300 players, week by week. I was fortunate enough to play position 1, position 2, and position 4. And I swear that it felt like there was no difference. But I love the clay. I love grinding it out as much as I can. I'm like Picasso on clay, man. I'm like an artist. It's unbelievable. It's just so much fun. And I go over now and again to play, because I obviously go over to see, friends and stuff like that. But I love the tennis club over there. It's like a second home as well as Nace. And I just love competing for them. And, you're getting paid to do the job that you love. How cool is that? You get to tell your kids and your grandkids and all, you get paid to do the job that you love. And I just think it's such a credit where if you don't have those finances, that's an opportunity that people can go down. Do you know what I mean? And that's something, but definitely the level, the professionalism is still the same. There's a roving umpire, which is great. So a roving umpire turns up to rove the matches. And all matches are not on all on at the same time. So they go 1-3-5, they finish 2-4-6, they finish, then the doubles. So it's brilliant, really, really good. And what I like about it as well is that it's so professional. You sit down with the team afterwards, and the home team pays for dinner. So it's brilliant. So it's fantastic. Really, really good. Really good. So.
Do you have a memory that stands out from your time playing leagues over there?
Yeah, there's definitely one. We played a team Visluk, and we were I think we were 4-3, or so it was something along those lines. We were either 4-2 down after singles, and we needed all 3 doubles to win. And we were looking at each other going, guys, what are we going to do here? Like, we have to get something. We have to pull it out of the bag. And I said, right, let's do this now. I want college mentality, because there was a French guy on the team, and he was playing for the number 1 team in Division 2, and he could feel my presence. He was like, oh my God, this guy's getting me motivated straight away. And you know how Germans are. Germans are very kind of like robotic. But to get these guys to get out of their comfort zone and start going, okay, Fitzy, man, okay, let's do this. Let's go Aufgeht's. And I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but I like it. Keep it going now. So it was a knock-on effect on all the three courts. We were just going nuts. We were going nuts the whole time. And, when you play in an away crowd, there's around 100 people to 200 people. It depends on where you go. But, they're against it. So we had 6 against 200. And we were just screaming the place down. We ended up winning 5-4. And their coach was throwing chairs. He was throwing benches. I was laughing my head off. But again, that's the kind of thing that I love, is that you're able to do that by your influence. If we went out and go, okay, guys, best of luck, that does not work. That does not work unless you have 3 teams that completely choke. That does not work. You've got to be that influencer that makes things happen. You have got to have that presence about you, and you've got to have that attitude to say, we're going to win. We're going to win. I don't accept second place, simply put. So that would be it. And then I remember our manager coming up to us, and he started kissing me, and I was like, get off me, get off. And he was, oh man, I love you, Irishman. I was like, all right, buy me a couple of beers, you can love me then. Happy then. So it's just brilliant. I love that mentality over there as well. So it's brilliant. That's definitely an experience. So
yeah. So now you still play tennis now? Do you, like, you're still playing a good bit, and you're playing DLTCs and
still playing DLTCs. We were in the semis. Unfortunately with the whole COVID-19. That had to. I actually don't know. They put out a post for the summer league. They cancelled. They never cancelled the winter league, which is interesting. So look. Again, we're doing very well. We're doing very well now. I didn't get to play the last 2 or 3 matches because, again, time constraint. I'm a family man now, and it's my Sunday. I'm giving up. I'll play as many matches as possible. But when they have me, I'll perform as much as I can. And they did a great job, even without me, for the remainder of the league matches in that. But, if we are coming back for the semis, you can guarantee that we're going to come out in waves to get the job done, because we won it last year. Yeah, we won it last year, yeah.
Yeah.
We played good team. We played great stuff.
I think I did, you think? Yeah.
Were you at that game?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't go to the final. No, I didn't.
You've never seen me play.
No. I have to do it.
See me play. Oh my God, you've got to see me play.
I will for sure. I think we're in the other semi in winter if it ever happens. So we might see you in the final.
Never know. It could be the rematch. And again, Greystone's a great team. Got a good depth there. Fitzgerald brothers, fantastic to watch. Highly recommend them. Tommy Hamilton. I mean, the name itself. I mean, guys, living proof of being that good. Just a brilliant player. And again, great club, great atmosphere. I go up to Naas. I love Naas.
Yeah.
Naas gave me that platform. When I got home, I said, I still want to play at this high level. And I want to kick some butt. And they gave me that opportunity. Naas is like a family to me. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The people in there, man, they've got a great coaching background. They've got great personality. I think that's quite important to a club. If you have great personality, you're all behind each other at the end of the day. They're not nitpicking at each other. They're all helping each other build those building blocks, and that's how they're going to become a big, big club. I think they're a big club now. I think they'll be bigger. That's my honest opinion. I think they'll be bigger. So
yeah, I mean, like it definitely looks like you're doing a lot of winning and a lot of it's a big club and a lot of success across men, women, and the different levels as well.
Yeah, well, that has a lot to do with the lads behind the scenes, the Dave Doyles, the Brian Gardners, these guys, Justin Clark's, Finnegans, these guys are putting in the serious amount of effort with the coaching behind the scenes. And then the juniors are buying into it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We brought up a junior now for the first this year, and he could see the level of disappointment when we lost Fitz this year. Like when we lost the Fitz in the league campaign, I didn't even sit down. I drove home. He knew I was odd. And I lost the plot. And he came and goes, sorry about today. We didn't get it done. I goes, absolutely. That's what you want to drill into them. Not turn up and go, yeah, look, that was expected. If you let that happen, then when you get to the final, that's going to be a knock-on effect. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
these small things that will make the difference between winning and losing. These are the things that we have to look at. These fine margins that if you don't become an influencer on a team or have that personality, then you're going to be just a mediocre team, simply put. So
yeah. Let's have a few more questions for you. What's your favorite place you've ever played tennis in your life?
ooh, favorite place. Huh. We went to whatchamacallit, Armstrong Atlantic brought us to the Miami Open.
Okay.
That was really cool, and we got to hit a few balls there because we were playing Lynn University out that direction. That was really cool. So we got to hit a few balls there for the crack. It was class. It was absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, I would say there. I loved there. It was absolutely awesome. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's great.
And then what's your favorite tournaments, even to watch, apart from playing? What's your favorite tournaments to watch?
French Open, clay courts,
Yeah.
all the way. There's no denying it, because you don't know what's going to happen to that ball for at least 23 seconds for every point, because it's clay. It's slower. They get to slide. They get to grit on the ball. It's just unbelievable. It's so much fun. So much fun. So clay, 100%.
Yeah,
What
so
about you? You're asking more questions. What about you?
What's my favorite tournament?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Federer fan, which might not please you if you're Nadal.
Down on the head, Wimbledon.
Well, I don't know if I'd say Wimbledon. I was meant to go to Wimbledon this year. I had kind of flights and stuff, and that's gonna have to wait.
No. Yeah, of course.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously Wimbledon's great. It's probably what a lot of people say. The one event I have been to is in London, the O2, the finals, the end of the year.
Right.
And that was insane. I went 2017, so it was the year Federer got back to really good, and I saw semis.
Okay.
I saw Fed play Goffin, which was a bit of a disappointing match. But
Goffin played well.
I remember he played insane. And then he got to the final, and I saw then Dimitrov beat Sock, which was a class match, because I think it was something like 6-4 in the third, but it was a class match as well. So, I mean, obviously that's the best event I've been to for sure. But a massive stage, and that was So hopefully next year I'll get to Wimbledon.
Fingers crossed. Definitely.
Yeah. Have you been to Wimbledon?
Nope, never. That's on the missus list now. She wants to go there, so again, that's something that we'll have to definitely look along down the roads. So definitely.
Have you been to the French? Have you been to Roland Garros?
No, I haven't been any of the Grand Slam, just the Miami Open.
Okay.
That was really cool. So.
And finally, what's your favorite thing about tennis?
Competing and winning. It's just black and white with me. I love to win. I love to compete. I think I love bringing the best out in people. And I've had some classic matches as senior players, and junior matches. But again, bringing out the best in people and letting them know that they just came short. Do you know what I mean? And it's something, that's the reason why I like the Interpros so much. Again, you get to see the best being brought out in them. And again, it's all at that high level. There's no disrespect. It's just proper high level tennis. And if you're going into that situation thinking that tennis is just going to get you over the line, think again. You've got to compete. You've got to fight. If you don't fight, then you're in the wrong sport at this type of level. So anyone that has played me will understand that's one of my things that I love to do. I love competing and I love winning. I don't like second place. I don't do it. It's unacceptable.
Yeah. All right. So, Paul, thanks so much for your time, for answering all those questions.
No problem. And I'm
absolute pleasure.
Hoping you and your family are doing well, and hopefully we'll be all out of this, fingers crossed.
Yeah, the very same to you. All the best. A big thanks once again to Paul for his time, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Irish Tennis Updates podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, and tell a friend so more people could find out about the podcast. I'll talk to you again next week with another episode. Until then, I've been Adam, your host. Stay safe.